Jerry and me turned onto Turner Road and drove up to Mrs. Garrity's house on the gray, rainy late spring day, certain that the old woman was just overreacting yet again to something relatively minor, and her imagination was playing tricks on her. She was waiting for us outside on her porch when we pulled to a stop. I'll never forget how she looked. It shocked me. She'd already been a thin and frail woman the other times we've been out there, but we hadn't seen her in probably a couple months since her last false emergency. She had changed drastically since then. Now she was gaunt, almost emaciated, her cheeks hollow and dark rings under her bloodshot, sunken eyes. Her gray hair was tangled and didn't look like it had been washed in days, maybe weeks. And the dress she was wearing was wrinkled and dirty. Her physical appearance was alarming enough, but there was also something about the way she was staring at both of us with those dull, dark eyes that seemed to look at us, through us, and past us all at once. It reminded me of old photos I have seen of American soldiers in Vietnam. The blank, expressionless, shell-shocked look of someone who had been through more horror than any ordinary person should have to endure. Me and Jerry exchanged a shocked look. They got out and approached the old woman. "What seems to be the trouble, Mrs. Garrity?" Jerry asked her, trying to keep his voice nonchalant. "There's something in my house," she told us in a flat, toneless voice. She was shaking slightly, a woman on the verge of total physical and mental exhaustion. The way she phrased it, not someone but something, made me raise my eyebrow. "Well, you just wait here, and we'll go have a look and make sure it's safe," I told her, trying not to sound too patronizing. I looked at Jerry and nodded. We drew our pistols and stepped past Miss Garrity, cautiously entering the house. We did a routine sweep of the first floor. Our guns were leveled, then we headed upstairs. It took about 5 minutes to check out the house. We had done it so many times before, we had the layout down pat, and there was no sign of any intruders or evidence of a breaking and entering. I saw plenty of other things that disturbed me deeply. For one thing, the place was a total mess. The house was already pretty decrepit. Mrs. Garrity had still taken pride in how clean she kept it. It had always been spick and span on our earlier visits. Now, dirty dishes were stacked so high in the kitchen sink, the counters were dirty, and the trash and dirty laundry littered the floors. I also noticed that Mrs. Garrity's pillow and blankets were lying rumpled on the couch in the living room. The surface of the coffee table in front of it was cluttered with half-drunk cups of coffee, open containers of food, a Bible, and a rosary. It looked like she'd been eating and sleeping in the living room for some time. When we went upstairs, sure enough, the bed in Mrs. Garrity's room was bare, and the room itself looked like it had been vacant for quite a while. There was also something in the living room that really alarmed me. Leaning in one corner was an old double-barreled shotgun that probably belonged to her late husband. Jerry picked it up, broke it open, and found 2 spent shells in the chamber. Took one out and sniffed it. They told me the gun had been fired very recently. We also discovered something else bizarre. All of the mirrors in Mrs. Garrity's house had been shattered, and every closet door had been boarded shut. The one in the front hall on the first floor had a huge hole blasted in the center of it, smaller holes pitting the splintered wood around it. You didn't need to be Sherlock Holmes to deduce that Mrs. Garrity had fired her shotgun into that door. But why? What the fuck had happened here? Jerry shot me a perplexed, questioning look. I shrugged, clueless and equally bewildered. Finished with our inspection of the house, we put away our pistols and turned around to go back outside. Mrs. Garrity was standing in the room behind us, staring at us with that unnerving, blank expression. Both of us almost jumped a foot in the air, startled. Neither of us had heard her enter. Jerry regained his composure and flashed her a fake, reassuring smile. "We don't see any sign of him, Mrs. Garrity. Must have slipped out the back. You're safe now." She didn't relax or appear relieved, like she had the countless other times we had humored her. Her face seemed to twitch, and some new look dawned in her eyes. It took me a moment to identify it. It was a look of pure, hopeless doom mixed with utter terror. "No," she said in that same odd, listless, flat voice. "I'm not safe. It's still here. It's hiding. That's why you couldn't find it. And after you leave, it'll come back for me." Then she began to quiver. She started to cry with total despair, breaking down into hysterical sobs that racked her whole body. Jerry and me looked at each other, concerned. We went to the old woman and comforted her as best we could, guiding her over to the couch, sitting her down with us on either side of her, coaxing her gently back to a state of calm.
The story progresses here, and they arrive on the scene, I guess is what you would say.
Yeah.
And things are a little bit different than they typically are.
Yeah, I would say so. Seems like clearly she's in quite a bit more disarray than normal.
Like physically, they can see it on her.
Yeah, she doesn't look like she's been eating well. She looks tired. She definitely looks scared. And beyond that, she's not taking care of herself. She's not cleaning her hair or her dress. She's not cleaning her home. Everything about this definitely seems like not the usual case.
And she said something, with the creepy part, and I had to go find exactly where it is, but she used the word it.
It, yeah, she says something in it. And so, like, she's not referring to this as a person. And she's not even really referring, you get the sense that she's not talking about an animal either. She's not talking about a raccoon. This definitely seems like something else. And the fact that she actually is doing some strange things in this house, like all of her mirrors are smashed and her closet doors are all boarded shut.
And she hasn't slept in her room for quite some time. All the pillows and blankets are on the couch, they said?
Yeah, on the couch. And that's where she's also got like some amounts of food and coffee around on the coffee table there.
So coffee would make you think maybe that she's afraid to sleep. It sounds like she's not in her room.
Yeah.
Afraid to sleep. So I think the next part, though, is what's crazy. They find the shotgun, couple spent shell casings in it, and Jerry actually smells it. He could tell that the weapon's recently been fired.
And then they see the hole blasted in the closet door.
So we know at this point in time, she at least thinks something is in that house, and she's gone, I don't want to say gone crazy in a mean way, but she has a very extreme reaction to this situation by firing a gun off in your house.
The best circumstances, this seems like you have someone who's losing their mind fully and is, just destroying everything around them. It's a very touchy situation to be in because now they got to, find out what's going on and then try to take care of her. But they can't really, at this point, she's possibly a danger to someone.
Yeah, they did a really good job dealing with her, though, I feel like.
Yeah, they're being...
Crazy thing to walk into, and I feel like these guys did a really good job handling it.
Definitely so far, yeah, for sure.
But you can't be easy. You walk into that situation where this house has just been destroyed, basically, and you're reacting to it. Oh, not only that, you go there every couple weeks, every couple of months, and there's just so much worse this time. So to your point, it's got to be very concerning. But the first thing they got to do is get her calmed down.
Yeah, definitely. And then maybe get some answers.
Yep.
Jeff Townsend Media. CG, good night.
And the question is, do I stay here? Will you be back? Are you gonna come back? Will you be back? Are you coming back?